Well, Jayne Drinkwater, firstly, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
It's been an incredible career for you in executive board levels. Let's go back to the start, I suppose, of your working life. What were your aspirations as that 20-something coming through into the working world?
Hugely ambitious. I always thought I wanted to be the boss. And I don't really know where that came from, but I always felt that I had something to contribute. From very early days, I was determined I was going to climb that corporate ladder and go as far as I possibly could.
I suppose there were many times where you found yourself being the only female in executive rooms. Tell us about those challenges, particularly in those earlier days in a very male-dominated world that you operated in.
I think the biggest challenge for me was feeling out of place, having the imposter syndrome happening, and when I did try to make a contribution, if I did feel I had something to offer, being overlooked. So not unusual to have people talk over the top of you, not unusual to have your ideas completely dismissed, and not unusual to then hear a male in the room represent those ideas 10 minutes later as their own and be applauded by everybody else in the room. One of the reasons I'm so keen to establish diversity, every element of diversity in every environment, is to make sure that all of those different ways of thinking, diversity of thought as it's referred to, are brought into the conversation early on.
Tell us about how things have changed since those early days in your career. Where have you seen the changes?
I think we do see much better representation right at the very senior level, and we do see much more willingness to listen to different opinions and consider new ideas, but we haven't seen enough. We have seen lots of good intention. We do see a bit of progress, and then we see it stalling for a while. We don't have enough representation at the executive level, so we still have quite a long way to go. We
have gender balance now on the Greater Bank board with some appointments in the last 18 months or so. Mm-hmm. On a broader sense, what do these new directors bring to the board?
It really goes back to that diversity of thought, different ways at looking at issues. And Greater Bank has a very strong culture. We have a certain way of doing things, and we're quite proud of that culture. We want to preserve that as much as possible, but we also want an injection of new ideas and a new way of looking at things. And I think more than anything, that's what our new directors bring.
No doubt there's many women in Greater Bank, in Newcastle and right around Australia who have ambitions in the corporate world, in the executive world. And what advice would you give her today?
Life is short. Do something you love, and I guess if you stop enjoying it, stop doing it. But be prepared to take some risks. For a lot of my female colleagues, and the research has demonstrated it, that women are less inclined to apply for roles where they don't feel they meet every single one of the selection criteria. I think that's unfortunate, because oftentimes you bring other things to the job that maybe the person who's doing the recruiting doesn't realise that you have something more to offer. So always go looking for opportunities, and don't be afraid to step into something that feels a bit too big.